Well, throughout the rest of this video, I'm going to be sharing with you everything we learned over the summer of 2022 about Lake Mead and Hoover Dam, and what will happen if contingencies aren't put in place to increase water flow or better manage the use of water in the reservoir. We'll also be talking about Lake Mead's third straw and what we can expect in the near future. As of the day I put this video together, which is December 12th, Lake Mead's water level sits at 1,043 feet, and back at its lowest point in the peak of summer, the water levels were at 1,040 feet. And take a look at this chart I found on the web. Other than staring at the bathtub ring, I think this provides another perspective of just how bad the situation is. This is January of 2022, and this is July of 2022, and as you can see, in about 6 months, water levels dropped by 26 feet, and like the economy, it doesn't seem to be picking up anytime soon. And in fact, according to azcentral.com, a forecast from the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation states that by November of 2023, Lake Mead could see a new low of just 1,007 feet, bringing it even closer to Deadpool. And no, not that Deadpool. I'm talking about the Deadpool that means once the reservoir gets to a low enough level, we're all fucked. Let me explain. Deadpool simply means that water can no longer flow downstream from the dam, and once it can no longer flow downstream, that means the turbines can no longer spin, resulting in loss of power for millions of people across Arizona, Nevada, and California. And technically, it doesn't even have to reach Deadpool for the turbines to stop spinning. It only has to drop to about 950 feet to lose power, and then at 895 feet, that means no more water downstream. This would force states to seek alternative energy sources, and in the meantime, if not already, you can expect water and power costs to skyrocket. Here's a diagram to give you a better visual of how the water level affects the dam. Heads up, this is a little outdated because the water level depicted in this diagram shows it at 1,072 feet. Power cutoff threshold would be here at about 950 feet, and Deadpool would be just beneath it here at 895 feet. But it's not just power and utility costs that are of great concern. Many farmers in the Southwest rely on water flow from the Colorado River, and did you know that 90% of the country's leafy greens and vegetables come from one particular region in the Southwest? That's right, Imperial Valley in California and Yuma, Arizona produce a lot of the nation's fruits, vegetables, and wheat. California itself is the nation's leader, contributing to 70% of all fruits and vegetable production. Much of the United States depends on the Southwest for other crops such as wheat, lettuce, tomatoes, asparagus, broccoli, cauliflower, almonds, alfalfa, etc., etc. The Colorado River is known as the lifeblood of the Southwest, and farmers use about 3/4 of the water that is pulled from the river. And it's no surprise that, well, less water means less food, and once supply is reduced in canneries, this will end up resulting in increased prices on the shelf. As if prices aren't already up due to that idiot in the White House, but never mind. People have always pulled from the Colorado River, and farming in the Southwest really isn't anything new or groundbreaking, but keep this in mind. Before the construction of the Hoover Dam in the 1930s, water flow fluctuated and wasn't controlled to the degree that it is today, meaning some seasons monsoon rains could be disastrous, wiping out entire fields of crops, compared to other seasons where lack of rainfall led to a small trickle down the Colorado River. And since the construction of Hoover Dam, agriculture along the Colorado River has only expanded over the years. And while Hoover Dam has created a large supply of water, leading to some of the most significant growth the Southwest has ever seen, allowing cities to grow, economies to boom, and people to settle in new territory, and while this all sounds great on paper, it also puts itself in a very critical position. Because when you start building, planting, and settling in an area where a reliable, consistent replenishment source of water isn't guaranteed, once the water goes, so does civilization. Now, the aid of man and civil engineering has allowed large settlement in regions like the hot arid desert of the Southwest that people wouldn't even think twice to move to, unless they had a guaranteed source of water. But with lack of rainfall, snow melt in the mountains, higher demand for water, and a growth rate doubling every 10 years for those seeking all year round nice weather, the future of the American Southwest has been officially put on notice. Now, one common association with the decline of Lake Mead's water levels is none other than Sin City itself. That's right, folks, we are talking about the fabulous Las Vegas, a city filled with hookers, cocaine, and gambling addicts spending every last bit of their retirement in hopes of early retirement. Oh shoot, wrong script. What I meant to say was a city known for its entertainment and lavish resorts, amongst many other things. Now, according to LasVegasAdvisor.com, as of 2021, there is about 150,000 hotel rooms in Las Vegas. That being said, think of all the sinks, drinks, bathtubs, showers, jacuzzis, restaurants, bars, and water fountain displays on the Strip that are used for aesthetics. And when it comes to water displays, most people think of the iconic Bellagio fountains, spewing large amounts of water all throughout the day, 7 days a week. That's gotta be a lot of water. But between water use on the Strip and throughout the rest of the city, surely Las Vegas is a huge culprit when it comes to Lake Mead drying up faster than women over 50, right? Well, not really. You see, according to... Oh, by the way, if that previous joke offends you, welcome to the internet. Moving on. According to Fox5Vegas.com, between Nevada, California, and Arizona, Nevada actually draws the least amount of water from Lake Mead. California draws about 4.4 million acre-feet of water, Arizona draws about 2.8 million acre-feet of water, and Old Nevada only draws about 300,000 acre-feet of water. But hey, let's cut the bullshit and ask ourselves the obvious question here. Are Las Vegas hotels and casinos selfishly pulling water from the lake to allow the ongoing use of their water attractions? I'm talking about things such as pools, waterfalls, fountains, waterways, aquariums, water slides, you name it. Do they get a pass? Well, the answer is no, they do not. Let me break it down. So of the 300,000 acre-feet of water Nevada gets each year, they continue to use less and less, despite population increase and tourism. Hotels and resorts and casinos get no more of a say over water than any other business, tourist attraction, or household. And in fact, hotels and casinos have doubled down to make sure no drop goes to waste. Any bit of water that goes down a drain in Las Vegas gets reclaimed. Let me explain. So whether you're in the shower scrub-a-dub-dubbing or dropping a deuce in the john, all that unused water that goes down the drain travels through the sewer system where it gets treated at a wastewater treatment facility. After all the filtering and treatment, it then gets returned to Lake Mead. But it's not just indoor water use that gets recycled. Any rain from storms or urban runoff also finds its way back into Lake Mead via the Las Vegas Wash. And out of the 3 states that pull from the Colorado River the most, Arizona, California, and Nevada, Nevada seems to have the most preventative measures put in place to ensure the least amount of wasteful water and recycling efforts. Now what about those Bellagio fountains? If Las Vegas still pulls water from Lake Mead, that means they're using it for those too, and that's a lot of water. Well, yes, that's partially true. That is a lot of water, and according to LasVegasSun.com, they go through about 12 million gallons of water per year. But despite what social justice warriors that hide behind screens on the internet may think, the Bellagio fountains do not use water from Lake Mead. They use water from a private well that sits beneath the property. It's a well that used to serve as the main source of water for the old Dunes golf course. And hey, quick fun fact of the day. It is estimated that each year the Bellagio fountains collect up to $12,000 in loose change. After it is removed and cleaned, it is then donated to the Make-A-Wish Foundation, amongst other charities, good causes, and nonprofits. There's a thing you know. Now, despite harsh times that Lake Mead and other parts of the Southwest are going through, it's important to remember that it wasn't always like this. There was a point in time when the lake flourished. The reservoir was at full capacity, Hoover Dam's power production was at full blast, babes were in bikinis, and at one point in time, the reservoir was actually so full due to flooding that they actually had to use the spillways to help expedite excess water around the dam through a tunnel system, where it was released further downstream. Now here's a photo from the last time the spillways were used at Hoover Dam back in 1983, which was also the same year Aaron Rodgers was born. But on to more important matters, here's what the spillways look like as of 2022. Now for the better part of 40 years, the spillways have been bone dry. Will we ever see them in use again? Some say it's a possibility, some say no, but if you ask me, I would say, will Demi Lovato ever stay sober? Will the Detroit Lions ever win a Super Bowl? And will Liver King ever admit to steroid use? Hold that thought. The only other time throughout history that the spillways were used was back in 1941 when Lake Mead first filled to a max capacity of 1,220 feet. And it wasn't due to a flood either, it was simply just a test run. Water flowed through the spillways until the reservoir level was lowered to an elevation of 1,205 feet. Today, the spillways sit there drier than ever, but if there's one thing we know, the spillways have become really efficient at collecting hats, cell phones, visors, sunglasses, and flip-flops. And if you've ever been out to Lake Mead / Hoover Dam, you'll know that everywhere you look, you are constantly being reminded by how critical of a situation this really is. From the dam itself to the shores of Boulder Beach and Hemingway Harbor, you can clearly see the bathtub ring that reaches all around Lake Mead. And according to PlanetA.com, the top of the white ring is about 140 feet above the current lake elevation, which again, as of this video being made, the current elevation of the lake is about 1,043 feet. Now, the last time the lake was at full capacity was back in 1999 when it was at an elevation of 1,220 feet. which means it's been just over 20 years since the water levels match the bathtub rings that you see right here. And all the footage that you're seeing right now was mostly shot out at Boulder Beach, meaning at one point in time, all of this would have been completely underwater. But now that it's no longer underwater, this means when you come out here, at any given point when you're walking along the beach, you are sure to stumble upon relics of the past. And in my recent trip here, I found many items along the beach. I first saw 3 boats that are within walking distance of the parking lot, and easy to spot. As far as everything else I found, you name it. We found everything from fishing poles, buoys, tires, floaties, hats, anchors, batteries, boats, engines, tackle, beer cans. Like I said, you name it. And that's just at Boulder Beach. If you make your way out to some of the other locations around the lake, you're going to find a lot more stuff. And it's pretty sad because not a whole lot is being done to pick up all the garbage on the beaches and at the harbors. But at the same time, it's also fascinating because you can see a lot of old boats that have surfaced since the water levels started receding. Here we have the iconic speedboat out at Government Wash that has now been fully exposed. I was just out here about a week ago, and yes, it's still there. Quite a sight to see. This is also what it looked like back in May of 2022. And this is what it looks like today. Another iconic boat that surfaced at Lake Mead is the Higgins boat, also known as the World War II boat. And at one point in time, this boat was 185 feet below the surface of the water. Now it's about 50% exposed. There is dozens and dozens of sunken boats that have been found at Lake Mead since May of 2022. And if you guys want to see a video of 10 boats I've found at Lake Mead, be sure to click the card in the upper right hand corner. Now perhaps one of the most important topics I want to bring to light in this video is Lake Mead's third straw. What is it, and why is it important? The third straw is basically a piping system that accesses some of the deepest parts of Lake Mead, allowing water to be pumped out in the event water levels drop below dead pool. Since Las Vegas depends on Lake Mead for 90% of its water, the third straw would allow water to be pumped out as the drought worsens, guaranteeing a water supply for Las Vegas until the inevitable happens. However, engineers and members of the SNWA, Southern Nevada Water Authority, were no fools, and they knew the inevitable could become a real threat. And by the inevitable, I just mean Lake Mead drying up and Las Vegas becoming a ghost town, just to be clear. They knew that the weather could be unpredictable, with rain and snow varying year by year. Throw into the mix a rapidly increasing population, development, and climate change, they knew they had to come up with alternative measures in the event the worst of the worst would happen. So in 1971, they constructed the first pumping station which could pump water until the elevation dropped to 1,050 feet. A second pumping station was installed in 2000 that would allow water to be pumped until elevation hit 1,000 feet. And by 2015, the third straw had been completed, for a price of only $817 million. This one was more unique than the first two because this tunnel extends 3 miles under Lake Mead, accessing some of the deepest parts, ensuring additional water supply for years to come. The third straw would be able to pump water out of Lake Mead until elevation hits 860 feet. After that, they're all fucked. Now there has been a lot of talk about rerouting water from the Mississippi River via an aqueduct system to Lake Powell to help make up for the shortage of water in the reservoir. Some call it a pipe dream, while others view it as a feasible solution. But according to DesertSun.com, water experts say it could take at least 30 years to clear all the legal hurdles to such a plan. And that's just the legal hurdles. Can you imagine how much longer the construction would take? And Las Vegas, let alone the entire American Southwest, doesn't have 30 years. And as of this video being made, Lake Mead is only 150 feet away from Deadpool. Now the aqueduct system would stretch 1,489 miles from Louisiana all the way to Lake Powell. Experts say it would take 370 days to fill Lake Mead and only 254 days to fill Lake Powell. But let me know what you guys think in the comments section down below.